Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Wednesday, the 31st day of March, 2022, Wednesday of the fourth week of Lent. Special afternoon reflection today because this morning I was coming into Washington, D.C. again to do an Easter workshop with our Franciscan postulates. And we're doing the workshop here in this little conference room right over there. And so they have broke for lunch, and so I get a moment now to be able to do a little reflection for today before I go to lunch, and then we begin our afternoon session. So I will be here again. This is Holy Name College. I was here for the Advent workshop for the Lent workshop, and so now back here for an Easter workshop, with them. And I'll show you more of Holy Name later on. But this is the room for our special classes and things like that. Today's readings, the reading from Exodus, in which God realizes that the golden calf has been created, wants Moses to go and bring God's wrath and anger to destroy Israel because it has chosen to create an image and an idol rather than to recognize the God of Israel, who has delivered Israel from bondage and slavery in Egypt. And it is Moses who intervenes to say, don't do that, because then all this great work that you have done will make you, God, look foolish. Because the people will say that this God just took the people out of Israel, or out of Egypt, took Israel out of Egypt just to destroy it in the desert. And so Moses is able to reason with God to basically say, this is not the way to act. This is not the way to show deliverance. But that Moses will go and he will deal with the people himself and let God's anger and its blazing die down. How Moses decides to deal with Israel, though, is not any better. In one way, he tells those who are still going to be faithful to the God who rescued them from slavery to take their swords and run through their brothers and sisters who decide to worship a golden idol. So nobody ends up well in the end. But the fact that it is Moses who can talk to God, and a God basically who is still trying to understand what it means, for this people to be a part of this God's life, is what is fascinating about this reading, about this passage from Exodus. Again, it is a God that we can talk to, a God that not necessarily to reason with, but a God who in many ways needs, in some ways, to be reminded of what it is that God can do. Now, this becomes a bit tricky because it is not us forcing God's hand, it is not us making God do anything, but the whole dynamic of our liturgical life encapsulates a phrase: "We remember so that you, God, may remember," which is ancient Judaism at its heart. The Passover is remembered again and again, so that we not only remember that God freed, our ancestors from slavery in Egypt, Judaism says, but that God may now free Judaism from whatever enslaves it in whatever time and place we happen to be celebrating the Passover. It is this combination, of things, of a God who remembers as we remember, and as we remember, so too does God remember. It's this dynamic. It is this reciprocity. It is this manifestation of our relationship with a God who cares deeply about us and who wants, again, what is best for us, that will cause us to realize why we have been created and what we have been created for. The fact that the Pharisees, scribes, Jewish leadership refuses, to believe this, is really where the gospel, again, John's gospel lands us, with Jesus basically saying, I don't accept human praise. I do not accept human witnessing. And to me, it is God who gives me the power to do this. I am not a popular preacher. I am not somebody who is riding high on popular celebrity. I am somebody who is trying to bring you a way of understanding and acting and realizing who and what you are that you cannot realize yourselves. But you continue to reject this. And basically, Jesus says, it's not God who will judge you. It will be Moses, who judges you. Because you have gotten the law of Moses wrong. You have misinterpreted everything that Moses was about. And rather than giving the people a sense of life and hope in God, you have continued again to enslave them. And Moses sought to lift them from that through the power of God. Recognizing again what it is that we need to listen to, recognizing again what it means to be witnesses in this world of God's grace, of God's love, of God's compassion, and God's mercy is again part and parcel of what Lent is about. Remembering those dimensions, remembering those realities, and living them out more faithfully as Lent comes to its close, and the Triduum and Easter dawn on the horizon. And may the Lord give you his peace.